All right, I'm cutting across to some big news coming in. Soumya Vishwanathan's killers have been convicted. This is the news that we're tracking as we see the verdict in the Delhi journalist murder case, Soumya Vishwanathan's murder case. The accused have been convicted under Makoka. The court holds all accused guilty for murder. TV journalist was shot dead in 2008. Soumya was found dead in her car, and all of the accused have now been convicted. This is a 2008 murder case of a Delhi-based journalist, Soumya Vishwanathan, where the court now has pronounced the verdict, sentencing the guilty to 15 years in prison. Anisha Mathur joining us live for more on that. Anisha, tell us more on the brutality of this murder. Soumya Vishwanathan, a Delhi-based journalist, was killed in 2008. And now we're looking at nearly 15 years later, a verdict has come along. Do take us through what's the conviction here?
Well, the 5 accused, Ravi Kapoor and others, have been held guilty of both murder and under the organized crime charges under Maharashtra crime act. One of the accused, Ajay Sethi, has also been held guilty of keeping a stolen car with him that was used as the instrument of crime. That was the car they were in when they committed this murder. The sentencing will be held on the 26th of October. The arguments on sentencing will be held on the 26th of October. The Delhi police, as well as the lawyers for the accused, have been asked to submit their written submissions, their arguments with regard to sentencing and what kind of quantum of sentence has to be pronounced against all these 5 men. But these 5 men have been held guilty and will be sentenced on the next date of hearing, which is 26th of October 2023. This comes as a big relief to the parents of Soumya Vishwanathan, who've been fighting this trial for the last 15 years. This case, of course, grabbed major headlines back in 2008, and even later, when the matter was being heard before the trial court, it saw a lot of delays, particularly with regard to the Makoka charges. But after 15 years now, the persons who killed Soumya Vishwanathan have been convicted. These men will be sentenced now on the 26th of October. Now, what we do know is that since they have already been convicted and are facing life imprisonment in this Jigisha Ghosh murder case of 2009, the prosecution will be pushing for a death sentence also against these 5 men.
It's taken nearly 15 years for the guilty to be convicted. Let me cut across to Shiv Arur as well, joining us for more on that. Shiv, Soumya Vishwanathan, who was part of the Headlines Today team right before it was rebranded to India Today, very unfortunate, was killed while she was in her car in Vasant Kunj. It's a 2008 incident which now finally, 15 years later, the court has convicted the guilty.
Nabila, I will never forget that night of the 30th of September 2008. Soumya was a very valued colleague in India Today. We were called Headlines Today at that point of time. She had left after her shift. She was driving home late at night. None of us knew what had happened until early the next morning when I got a call from my colleague. We all rushed to her house in Vasant Kunj. It was an absolutely unbelievable incident. She had been shot and murdered in her car. Professional young journalist in the prime of her life and career was shot and murdered in her car. Just by miscreants along a lonely stretch of the Vasant Kunj area of South Delhi. Her murder, in many ways, for many years, was a black hole. There were no leads. The investigation went nowhere. It was only thanks to the unfortunate murder of another young woman named Jigisha many years later that the police chanced upon evidence that these same killers may have been responsible for Soumya's death as well. And it has taken 15 years from the 30th of September 2008 when young Soumya was murdered, with a gun on Nelson Mandela Marg in South Delhi, to now those killers judges, all 5 of them being convicted. It's been a terrible saga. It's been an agonizing wait for Soumya's parents. Both of them continue to live in South Delhi. They are some of the most humble people you can actually meet. They've never blamed anyone. All they've asked for is for speedy justice, but they've still had to wait for 15 years. We'll be hearing from them very, very shortly. They, in fact, I can confirm, have been in court. They've been quietly attending every single hearing, supplying whatever information they could possibly have, to get these killers convicted. They've never had a single bit of bitterness in their hearts. All they've expressed, are the memories of young Soumya. She was their younger daughter. They have an elder daughter as well, who's been part of the fight for justice for Soumya Vishwanathan. And all of us here, the India Today family, have a very deep connection with Soumya. She was not only a valued colleague, but was someone who was seen to be on the rise, extremely talented, a hard worker, a smart worker, someone who would have gone a very long way in journalism. To be cut short in her prime, just 25 years old, in 2008, when she was so brutally murdered, was a very sad day for all of us here at India Today. So even while we continue to miss and grieve Soumya's loss, I can tell you that today is going to bring the beginnings of closure for an agonized family and a large circle of friends who miss and love Soumya Vishwanathan very, very much.